Alright, this video is about a couple of very cool items, but unfortunately there are at least one or two reasons why I personally won't use this item on my day-to-day basis. Alright, the first item that I want to show you that I really think is very cool, but for some reason I didn't enjoy it that much to use on a day-to-day basis, and you have seen this Puncube Mech wallet in the Aluminium Wasteland edition on the Westernized Voyager TechSling review that you can see in the info tab above. This is a minimalist wallet which is incredibly cool. Firstly, I really dig this look. This, very sci-fi kind of looking wallet that comes without this money clip. This is an additional feature that you can kind of stick onto your wallet with an adhesive. So I really wanted that because here in Germany, very often we still use cash. So having a money clip on your wallet, at least for me personally, is essential. And if you don't need a money clip, then, or if you just buy it alone, this wallet comes without a clip. So this is very important for you to know. What's really cool about this, it has a similar mechanic where it fans out your cards like on the Ekster wallet that I really like, or the Double Oak wallet, which I also really like, but this does it in a different way. What it does is push it in that direction, and then your cards fan out like so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards you can fit inside this mechanism. Obviously, because this is aluminium, this is RFID theft protected, and again you push your cards out like so, and then you kind of look what you want and get your card and can push it back into this little card case mechanism. And while in theory I really like this, because on the Ekster wallet or on the Double Oak wallet or in the Secret wallet, you kind of have to push a lever here at the bottom and then they fan out on the top here. And this is kind of different, where you kind of push this and it has this very satisfying, do you hear this clicky sound? That is actually very satisfying to use, and in that regard this is an amazing wallet. This is very well made, your cards are protected from bending, from RFID theft, and it is very minimalist. And because this has some heft to it, but it's not as heavy as you might think. Obviously a leather wallet or a leather slim wallet will be a little bit lighter, but I really like that your cards are protected from being bent, because in the past, which was actually the reason why I many years ago transitioned to the Secret wallet, was because I was sitting on my wallet from time to time. Some of my cards were bent way too much and then kind of broke. So having a hard shell case to protect your cards that is also minimalist and that has this mechanism to fan out your cards is really cool. Now, why did I not like using this? The thing is, this is all aluminium, and if you wouldn't have had this money clip here, everything on this is a little bit slippery and you have a little bit of difficulties pushing out this mechanism. With the Ekster wallet or the Double Oak wallet or the Secret wallet, it is fairly easy to kind of hold it like so and then use one of your either ring finger or pinky to kind of push that lever. And in this case, you kind of have to hold the whole wallet but not press too much on it, because if you press too much on it, then you kind of prevent the mechanism from kind of working properly. So you have to hold it a little bit lightly and then find a good area where your thumb will kind of grip to the material to be able to push it. So what I need to do is use these fingers to hold against this and use my thumb to push on the corner of this top part, and then you can kind of push it out. If you don't do it in the beginning, you kind of want, see this? It is kind of hard to push that and get to your cards. So you really need to find an edge to be able to push out your cards. Not a big deal, don't get me wrong, this is not a deal breaker, but it's definitely something to keep in mind, because if you're used to Ekster wallets where you kind of only need one of your smaller fingers to push that lever and all of your cards get out, this is definitely something that can be a little bit cumbersome, especially if you are in a supermarket at the cashier and you want to grab your cards a little bit more quickly. I feel like it is not as easy to get to your cards if you want to kind of fumble around, and then when you get to your cards, sometimes it is a little bit more difficult to get to one of your cards in the middle. I don't have to get to the cards in the middle. I usually keep my most important card in the back, and then it is much easier to get to that card, and the other cards are just not used that often. So that is not a big deal, but just this, how do you call this? This operation of getting to your cards is, you see this, it is, and I'm actually trying here. If your finger doesn't kind of grip anything on this slippery surface, although there are ridges, it's not like your fingers kind of grab to it. And especially if you try to grab the material with your finger by pressing down on the material, then this mechanism won't really open. So because there will be some friction on these two parts, and then it won't open. So you really have to push it on this side. And especially if you don't have the money clip, there's nothing on the back for your other fingers to grab the other part or the other half of that side, which makes it very difficult to operate this with one single hand. Obviously, if you have two hands, it's much easier, and it's somewhat of a fidget toy. So in that regard, I really like this. Again, build quality, amazing. Looks amazing. The feel of the mechanism is really cool. However, the downside is it's not as easy to open and close like on the Ekster wallet, which to me is somewhat of a trade-off that I don't really want to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And that is why I can recommend this wallet, as long as you keep that in mind. This is a good looking wallet, this is a durable wallet that, in my humble opinion, probably will hold up a lifetime, but you need to keep in mind that this mechanism isn't as smooth as on the Ekster or the Double Oak wallet. By the way, all of the items, despite me not being able to use this or not wanting to use this on a day-to-day basis, maybe you want to check out these items and still get them for yourself because you don't consider these trade-offs really that important for your use case, then check out the affiliate links in the description below. Those, as I said, are affiliate links. With those you won't pay more, but you will support this channel with a small kickback of that sale. And if you do so and support this channel, thank you very much. And speaking of Ekster Wallet, this is the next item in this cool but no video about items that I think that are cool, but I don't really see a point of using. And this is the Ekster Wallet Pro. Maybe let's go over what is different to the standard wallet of the Ekster Parliament series. So this is the standard Parliament, this is the new Ekster Pro, and this is just the regular Ekster card holder without the leather enclosing. So the new version is made out of this Italian leather. I forgot the name, it has a very complicated name that I just can't remember. Everything is made out of recycled aluminium. And I think the most important part is that this mechanism is now made with a metal interior. This on the standard version is made out of plastic. This little button and the whole mechanism, as far as I understand, and this Pro version is now made out of metal, meaning it should be more durable. Then based on the product page, and I will get to that in just a second why I just say based on the product page, the Pro version is supposed to be a little bit slimmer or a little bit more, more refined and in terms of the sizing. And I get to that in just a second. It's supposedly to hold 1 to 14 cards. Then it has some extra, let's say in air quotes, attachment points where you can add these additional extras like money clip, like a small little coin holder that you can add to this Pro version. And those are, I guess, the most important new benefits of the Pro version. However, I personally think that some of those new features, I don't notice them. I don't feel like that the Pro version is any smaller or slimmer than the old version, at least not perceivable to what I can tell. I feel like it has the same size, the same thickness, so I can't really confirm that it is any smaller. I do think that the mechanism being out of metal now is a huge benefit. That being said, the plastic version of the standard one, it's still, my version holds up perfectly well, and I cannot see any wear and tear on that mechanism. Still, if you want something a little bit more durable, having this metal mechanism is definitely a benefit. More importantly, now you have this bigger main compartment here in this aluminum casing. Now you can fit to 7 cards in that slot. In the standard version, you can only fit 6 cards in this. But the mechanism overall is just the same as on the standard version in the Pro. You need to keep in mind, if you have credit cards with raised letters, treat those cards as 2 cards. So having the option to put 7 cards in here, meaning 6 cards, one of them being a credit card with raised letters, is definitely a benefit of the Pro version. So if you carry a lot of cards that you want to keep in this aluminum encasing, which is RFID protected, just like on the standard version or the card holder alone, then this is definitely a Pro. Next up, the slots, and this is basically why I personally don't really think, for me, it is useful to go for the Pro version instead of the standard version, is you have this slot here where you can attach this additional money clip that slides in here. I personally don't think that I would use this or need this, because you have this elastic here where you can put your bills inside. So I don't really see a need to attach a money clip here on the outside, especially if you want a minimal wallet. Why would you add an additional money clip to the outside if you have a place to store cash here on the inside? So that doesn't really compute with me why I would need that. If you want to, you could do it, but it just doesn't make sense for me. So having the option to add the money clip here introduces one point on this wallet where I can see prolonged use might kind of break this wallet, because there is some stitching here where these leather parts connect, and I'm not really sure if you have your money clip in here, or even if not, if all of this movement over a longer time might stress this stitching way too much, that this stitching might get loose or tear. I'm not sure about that, so I haven't tested this long enough to confirm if the stitching will hold up, but to my eyes this doesn't seem that strong. So I'm not sure if this is actually worth it to have a stress point or a weak point here just to have the ability to add a money clip here that in my eyes isn't that useful, because you have this elastic here. So not really sure. Another difference that I notice is, and I think that might be what they refer to as this being a little bit more slimmer and streamlined. You can see here that the leather is kind of exposed, while here it is on the standard version is somewhat double layered. I'm not sure if that is the technical term, but this feels a little bit more stiffer or more rigid, while this seems a little bit more flexible and softer, and therefore also slightly thinner than on the standard version. Maybe that is what they're referring to, that this Pro version is a little bit more slimmer than this, but to me it's not perceivable slimmer than the standard version. Speaking of slimmer, what you might notice is that on the standard version there is some leather application here. I removed that, and the Pro version had this as well. I took that off because to me it felt like unnecessary bulk. This was a leather application where it had the logo on it. I just just cut it off, and I intentionally left some of the strings on here so you can see where I removed it. I just cut it with a sharp blade and took it off because to me it felt like unnecessarily bulk on this. Then you have some more additional things that you can buy where you have like a small little coin pouch that you can slot into this compartment. But I feel that it's just not necessary. You want a minimalist wallet, and I feel like if you want a minimalist wallet, you don't want to make it unnecessarily bulky and much bigger than it needs to be. So yeah, I don't see a point of getting these additional attachment points. It is good that you can attach some of these additional add-ons to the Ekster Wallet Pro, but to me, I just don't need it. And that's basically the reason why I think the Pro version is cool, but I don't really see a point getting the Pro version over the standard version, because A, I don't need those extras, B, I don't necessarily need the 7 cards. For me, the 6 cards that I was able to fit into this aluminum encasing were enough, and C, I'm not really sure about the durability of this stitching here that gives you the option to add that money clip. But I will use this obviously for a longer time to kind of confirm if the stitching will kind of get loose or disintegrate, is that, or kind of break up, let's say it that way, if the stitching will break up over time. So I will use this for a longer period of time to kind of confirm the durability of this. Now, if it's only coming down to the metal mechanism, and I think that is the huge benefit, the recycled aluminum, this beautiful Italian leather, if that is something that you want to go for, and I definitely want to say that the standard version, it is very durable and it held up great. It also has this Italian leather. It just doesn't have this mechanism made out of metal, but rather out of plastic. If you want those extra features, then yeah, go for the Pro version. But to me, these additions aren't worth it to go over the standard version. I personally would just go with the standard version and not go for the Pro version. Hence the reason, cool, but yeah, no for me. Alright, this next item in the category cool but no is a knife. Unfortunately, the knife laws in the EU and specifically in Germany are pretty strict, which is the reason why I don't really want to review any knives on this channel anymore. However, I would just wanted to show you this knife and just tell you, I think it is cool, but I just can't use it because A, it's not allowed, and B, it's just too big. And I really hope that there aren't that many comments in the comment section below, because I understand some of you, especially if you are from the USA, you might kind of laugh at our laws in the EU or in Germany, but it's just how it is. These are the laws and I just don't want to get too political. There are reasons why knives in Germany aren't allowed. There were unfortunately some horrible incidents with knife attacks. So I do understand why knives in Germany are not allowed. That is why I won't review this, I won't use this, but I thought it is cool. That is why I wanted to show it to you anyways. So this is the James brand, the Folsom Pro knife. And because it is a very big knife, meaning it has a very big blade, this is one hand opening, and it has a lockable blade. That is why it is forbidden in Germany to use on the street or carry around. But again, I don't want to get political in here. I just wanted to show you this knife because I thought it is a very beautiful and good looking knife. Also, I do understand that many of the knife enthusiasts consider James brand as kind of the Apple of the knife world, and to some degree kind of don't really consider them to be a serious brand. I have no idea if that is true, if you agree with that. I just think they look very beautiful and I would love to use this, but I understand A, it is not allowed in Germany, and B, it is honestly way too big. So what makes this knife so cool? And I kind of need to read off the product page because those A, I can't remember, and B, that is the reason why I think this knife is so cool. The Folsom Pro is built around an LC200N blade that is stonewashed, which I think looks beautiful, and I hope that comes through this video. The stone washed blade has a drop point tip, and all of the hardware is made out of titanium, which hopefully you can see on this deep carry pocket clip, and all of these little connection points. The liner lock, if I'm not mistaken, is also made out of this titanium material, and the handle is made out of G10 scales. This is the black version and has this very satisfying ceramic ball mechanism. And really, I'm so sorry, I can already tell that some of the knife enthusiasts, which are very passionate, are kind of shaking their heads how I describe this knife. But again, I'm not a knife reviewer, and I'm not going to be because of the laws here in Germany. I just wanted to show you this knife because I think this is beautiful. I really like this stone washed blade, the G10 scales, and this titanium clip, and all over these small little, very subtle but noticeable hints of titanium. They just look amazing. And there is this little green accent, and I hope you can see this in the video, of the hole where you can kind of put a lanyard on here if you want to. And I do like the look of this knife a lot. Again, not going to use this. This goes into a drawer in my storage. I am not allowed to carry this. I won't use this, but I just wanted to show you how cool this knife actually is. But if you live in a country where you are allowed to carry these kinds of knives and blades, or you want something at home to utilize to, I don't know, open boxes or whatever, don't forget, in the description below there are affiliate links. With those you won't pay more, but you will support this channel with a small kickback of that sale. And if you consider using one of those links to support this channel, thank you very much. So this is the James brand Folsom Pro. I think a very cool knife, but I won't use it, unfortunately. Alright, the next piece of item in the cool but no segment is not really a hard no, because I'm not really sure about this item yet, if this will continue to stay in my everyday carry and I will use it every single day. This is the Sharge Retractable 65 watts GAN charger. And I do think this is a very cool little GAN charger. First and foremost, what makes this so cool is this is a very small and compact GAN charger. With 65 watts, it can charge all of your devices, even my MacBook Pro 14-inch edition, very fast. Moreover, because this is called the retractable, it has a USB-C cable here inside already attached. It's not very long, to be honest, but it is good to have if you want to charge your phone, for example, and you don't want to carry your extra USB-C cable. So you have that always with you. Yeah, it's not that long, but because it is inside, it is very good to have. I actually also charge my MacBook Pro with this cable if it's close enough to the power outlet, but you also have a USB-C connection here to which you can connect the regular MacBook Pro MagSafe charging cable. And if you have two devices connected here, so one with your internal USB-C cable and the USB-C cable here on the output, then obviously the 65 watts will be distributed across those two devices. But because it is so small, I really love this charger to be in my tech pouch, to have it with me all of the time. Now, why is this in the cool but no video, and why do I say I'm not 100% sure if this will stay in my tech kit? This charger does get really hot when I charge my MacBook Pro. I do understand with 65 watts charging my MacBook Pro, that is bound to happen, that any charger will get hot. My MacBook Pro charger gets hot as well, but this does get a bit I don't have a proper way to scientifically measure those those laser temperature things. I don't have that, so I cannot measure the temperature. But I noticed that it was getting very hot when I was charging my MacBook Pro, and there was one instance I wasn't able to replicate this, where my MacBook Pro, you know, the MacBook Pro, when you attach a charger, it does this sound, this bing sound, and it notifies you that it starts charging. For some reason, on one single occasion, and I don't know why that happened, and I wasn't able to replicate it. But what happened is my MacBook Pro kept doing this bing, and you saw the power notification, and then it went back to battery, and then it did bing again, and it told me it was charging. It did that a couple of times, and then I thought, okay, maybe I need to unplug it, and I touched the charger, and it was fairly hot. And I unplugged it, plugged it in, and everything was normal. So that was kind of worrying me, where I was thinking, oh, I don't want to keep this next to my MacBook Pro, charge it, and then kind of walk away. If I would use this, I would try to stay close to it, just to be safe that nothing happens. I contacted Sharge, not sure if I pronounce it correctly, Sharge, and they told me that is normal, that a GAN charger is getting hot, but because this is all plastic, I kind of worried that this might melt, or I don't know. I have no proof to kind of confirm if this is faulty or if this is normal that this gets so hot, but because this is plastic, because I had this one incident where my MacBook Pro was doing this dinging sounds, I was worried about this charger, to be quite honest, and I'm not really 100% sure if I will continue using this. I will use this, but not if I'm not right close to this charger. I have no idea what this is. Nevertheless, I do think this charger is so cool. Having this retractable internal USB-C cable is a really cool idea, and an extra USB-C port, 65 watts is plenty to charge a MacBook Pro. Maybe if I only charge my phones where the power draw isn't that high and therefore this wouldn't get so hot, this is okay, because this is small enough to carry around instead of a regular phone charger maybe. But yeah, with my MacBook Pro, I'm a little bit hesitant. Maybe you have this, or you have a different GAN charger. Do your GAN chargers get that hot, and do you worry? I mean, to be fair, the Apple MacBook Pro charger that comes with my MacBook Pro is also made out of plastic. It also gets hot, but I never had this kind of connecting, disconnecting issue. Again, this only happened once with this Sharge Retractable 65 charger, but yeah, it did kind of worry me. If you have similar chargers made out of plastic, only this big, 65 watts, if you charge your MacBook Pro, do they get somewhat hot? Let me know in the comment section below. Again, cool, but I'm a little bit hesitant with this charger. Therefore, it is in this video, cool but no. Alright, this video is the cool but no video, and I kind of want to end this video with an item that I really think is cool, but it's not a hard no. It's just a no because I'm not traveling. I mean, all of you know economy isn't great at the moment, and I'm not going to travel anytime soon. That is why this item gets a no from me, but only because I'm not traveling at the moment. This is the Ekster reusable vacuum packing cube. What this means is you can pack a bunch of items into this packing cube, use this small little tiny vacuum. It's not a vacuum cleaner, but a vacuum device to pull out air out of this packing cube. And this will make packing so much easier, because obviously if you suck out the air out of this packing cube, it will compress and make packing so much easier. And having this small little vacuum device, it will be so easy to just bring this wherever you're traveling. So to kind of illustrate what this is doing, I have here two big sweaters that are also fairly thick in terms of the fabric, and 4 t-shirts that are merino, but also this technical fabric from Graphene X from Graphene X. So again, just to illustrate how this works. This packing cube is fairly longish because this is intended for the Ekster grid duffel that I reviewed a while back that had a fairly longish form factor. So yeah, as you can tell, this is fairly long and probably wouldn't necessarily fit most of your carry-on backpacks. That is definitely a downside. They have, as far as I know, different sizes of these, but this is the bigger one with the 10 kilo load out. I mean, you will be able to kind of squish this into your backpack if you kind of, I don't know, fold this up on the bottom end, and then it will get to a size that maybe fits your 30-liter carry-on backpack. So that definitely would be a downside. So kind of take a look which size you will need. But this one is the longish 10 kilo version. And yeah, let's kind of pack this up so you can see how this actually works. The whole material is really cool because this feels extremely durable and long lasting. They have this really cool zipper that obviously will be airtight. You have lashing points here if you want to carry it like a duffel bag. Not really sure why you wanted to do this, but I guess it is possible. I mean, you could actually utilize this as a small little beach bag. So put all of your items in here, and because this is airtight, this obviously will kind of protect all of your items from sand. So maybe if you want to use this as a beach bag and then put a shoulder strap on here, this would be a really cool small little bag as well. Now let's put all of my items inside, starting with a sweater. Obviously you can also Ranger roll some of the items, but I don't do this in this case because I want to show you how this kind of compresses, and feel like when they are folded like this, it will be a little bit visually better if they are not rolled up. Then yeah, let's just not do it neatly. I just want to show you how this works. Put that in here in the top like so, and obviously I could put so much more items in here, but I just want to show you maybe a use case. 4 shirts, 2 sweaters would be maybe 4 days trip. Put that in here, close it up. Obviously you need to be sure that you close up this zipper properly so it will be very airtight. Then open up this small little one-way, how you call this, air ventil or thingy. Use your little vacuum, put it on here, push this button for 1 second, and then it starts sucking out, and you can already see how this gets smaller the more air it pulls out. And to kind of help it, you can press some parts of this to push out some air in some of the other parts, just to help that small little tiny vacuum, and then push it again to switch it off. And because this is a one-way air escape mechanism, it won't kind of deflate again and suck in air. And this is it. You can see this. I mean, I use these types of vacuum compression pouches to store my winter clothing, for example. When I put that away during the summer, I utilize those a lot, but I've never had something like this for traveling just because I was lacking a vacuum. Obviously, not all hotels or Airbnbs have necessarily a vacuum, so I wasn't able to actually utilize this kind of packing for traveling. But now having this kind of set where you have this really high quality packing cube, and you can see here it is so small, or not small, flat and compact and space efficient. And I really like this a lot, especially considering it is so durable. It feels from the material kind of like those dry sacks, so a little bit of a thicker material, and then having this really small and compact air suctioning vacuum device will make it so much easier to travel, because as I said that again, I had vacuum packing pouches in the past, but those were only for using at home or just one use, because when you're traveling, you don't have access to something that pulls out the air out of those vacuum cubes. And now having this set and being able to pack this slim and this space efficient will be a game changer for me when I'm traveling. Maybe to give you an example or a comparison again, let's get some air back inside by just opening this up a little bit. Oh, you hear that? Air gets inside. And let's open this up so it actually... So let's get this back and do this one more time so you have a good comparison. So this is with all of the air inside. Maybe I can give you a side view of this. So let's do it like that. And that now. Let's start pulling out the air. You see that? And it goes really fast actually. And here we go. Let's push out some more of the air. See that? This is so cool. And I really like this feature and this packing style. Obviously, if you pull out the air out of this, your garments are more prone to get kind of wrinkly. That is definitely a trade-off of this style of packing. Obviously, everything gets a little bit crunched together and therefore it will get a little bit wrinkly. Therefore, I would consider this for those thicker items or those items where you don't really care if they get wrinkled. So pants like heavy jeans. I always see that jeans or bigger sweaters will have a little bit more volume inside your backpack or your bag. So being able to compress those thicker items where it's not that prone to be that wrinkly. So jeans, I don't mind if they are a little bit wrinkly, or heavier, thicker sweaters also don't really mind if they get wrinkly. I will pack those in this packing cube in the future whenever I will be able to travel again. But if you have like dress shirts or anything where it's really important that they don't wrinkle that much, probably don't pack them inside here. But all of the other bigger items that you want to help to save some space, this will be a game changer for you. So yeah, really like this. And again, I wanted to end this video with an item that I think is really cool, but just gets a no because I can't use it at the moment. But I will definitely use this in the future when I'm traveling. Again, I link all of those items down below. And yeah, what do you think about all of these items in this video? Are any of those items for you so cool, but they also get a yes and not a no? Let me know in the comment section below. But also let me know, do you have any cool items that you really think are amazing, but for some reason you aren't able to actually use? Also comment below. But if you want to see some items that I have been using in my everyday carry, check out the video up here, and YouTube thinks that you like the video down here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. I see you in the next video. Thank you very much.